Welcome to Mindful Moments. Nourish your mind on the go. This audio uses AI narration to present our original book analysis. Today, we're diving into Charles Dickens's A Christmas Carol. You probably know the story.
Oh, yeah.
But we're going to uncover some fascinating details and discuss why this novella, published in 1843, still resonates with us today.
Absolutely. I mean, it was an instant sensation back then, inspiring Londoners to flock to Dickens readings and even influencing Victorian Christmas traditions. But A Christmas Carol, it's so much more than just a simple holiday story. It's a social commentary, a warning about unchecked capitalism, and a timeless tale of redemption.
Exactly. And Dickens he kicks things off with a line that instantly hooks you. Marley was dead, to begin with.
Right from the start.
Right. Then we meet Ebenezer Scrooge, our miserly protagonist, who Dickens describes as hard and sharp as flint, from which no steer had ever struck out generous fire.
Perfect description. Scrooge embodies those negative aspects of industrial-era capitalism, obsessed with money, and utterly detached from human connection. He's not just a character. He's a powerful symbol.
He really is, and his choices, they have consequences. Dickens emphasizes Scrooge's isolation. No one greets him on the street. No one asks him for directions, not even eye contact from anyone. The text even says that even dogs avoid him.
He's like a ghost in his own life.
Yeah.
Dickens uses the setting, Christmas Eve in bleak, foggy London, to mirror Scrooge's inner state.
It's like even the weather reflects his coldness.
Exactly.
But amidst all this gloom, there are these flickers of warmth. Scrooge's cheerful nephew and the charitable gentlemen who visit his office, they represent the Christmas spirit, which Scrooge rejects with his iconic, bah, humbug.
It's like they're reminding him of what he's missing.
Right.
These encounters foreshadow Scrooge's potential for transformation, the nephew's joy, the gentleman's pleas for charity. It highlights everything Scrooge is missing by clinging to his miserly existence.
And then things get spooky with the arrival of Jacob Marley's ghost. Picture this. Marley's face appears in the door knocker, and he's dragging these spectral chains forged from his own obsession with money.
Haunting image.
Talk about a haunting image.
It really is. Marley's chains symbolize the burden of greed.
Yeah.
His message to Scrooge is very clear: change your ways, or face a similar fate.
It's a powerful warning. Marley's visitation shakes Scrooge, but he's not fully convinced yet. That's where the three ghosts come in. The ghost of Christmas past, present, and yet to come. Each ghost takes Scrooge on a journey, peeling back layers of his life and forcing him to confront his past, his present, and his potential future.
It's such a brilliant structure. Each ghost represents a different facet of time, offering a unique perspective on Scrooge's life. Let's start with the ghost of Christmas past. What strikes you about this spirit?
Well, he's described as both childlike and ancient, holding holly yet adorned with summer flowers. It's his fascinating blend of joy and sorrow, hinting at the complex nature of memory.
The duality of the past. And don't forget the light emanating from him, representing the illuminating power of the past. He's there to help Scrooge understand where things went wrong.
The ghost takes Scrooge to very specific moments. His lonely childhood at boarding school, the joy of his sister Fan arriving for the holidays, the happy apprenticeship with the jovial Fezziwig, and his lost love, Belle, who left him because of his growing obsession with wealth.
It's interesting how each scene is carefully chosen to show the path Scrooge took to become a man he is. We see his vulnerabilities, his capacity for joy, and the pivotal moments where his values shifted.
You can practically see the regret on his face as he witnesses these scenes, especially when he remembers Fezziwig.
Yeah.
He wasn't wealthy, but he knew how to celebrate life and spread joy among his employees. It's a stark contrast to Scrooge's treatment of Bob Cratchit.
That comparison is so important. Dickens highlights that true wealth isn't about money. It's about the relationships we cultivate and the positive impact we have on others.
It's so true. The ghost of Christmas past fades away, and we're left with Scrooge contemplating the choices that led him to this point. But his journey is far from over.
Oh, no. It's just beginning.
Yep.
Enter the ghost of Christmas present. This is where things get really interesting.
Oh, yeah.
He's a completely different kind of spirit.
I can't wait to talk about him and the lessons he brings.
Yeah, he's a complete contrast to the ghost of Christmas past.
Totally.
This ghost is all about abundance and celebration.
Yeah.
He's described as jolly with a booming laugh and a torch.
Right.
That symbolizes spreading kindness and goodwill.
You immediately feel this warmth radiating from him.
Yeah, you do.
And I think one of the most powerful scenes is when he takes Scrooge to the Cratchit family Christmas celebration.
Absolutely.
It's so heartwarming.
They may be struggling financially, but they're overflowing with love and joy.
Yeah.
Making the best of their meager Christmas dinner.
Yeah.
It's impossible not to feel for them.
And their genuine happiness.
Yeah.
And then there's Tiny Tim, this frail but spirited child who just embodies innocence and vulnerability.
Yeah.
His uncertain future really brings a sense of sadness to the story.
Definitely pathos.
And it forces Scrooge and us as readers to face the harsh realities of poverty. Remember when the Cratchits make a toast to Scrooge?
Oh, yeah.
It's filled with such complex emotions. They acknowledge him as their benefactor. But there's also a sense of resentment and a sense of injustice there, too.
Definitely.
Really makes you think about social responsibility. Earlier, Scrooge dismissed the poor as a surplus population. But now he's actually seeing the human faces behind that phrase.
Exactly.
It's a turning point for him and for anyone who thinks they can just ignore the suffering of others.
I agree. And it's important to note, the Ghost of Christmas Present doesn't just focus on the Cratchits. He takes Scrooge to all these other places.
He does.
We see miners celebrating Christmas.
Yeah.
Lighthouse keepers. Even sailors at sea.
Yeah.
All celebrating Christmas in their own way.
That's so cool.
It emphasizes the universality of the Christmas spirit. Transcending social class and circumstance. No matter where you are, Christmas can bring people together.
That's a beautiful thought. But there is also a hint of melancholy there, too. Because the Ghost of Christmas Present starts to age, right?
He does.
He represents the present moment, which is fleeting and precious.
That's a good point.
And then there are those two haunting figures, ignorance and want, clinging to the ghost's robes.
I was just thinking about them. They represent the social ills that plague society. They're a stark warning to Scrooge. And to all of us, ignorance leads to apathy and inaction, while want breeds despair and suffering.
It's a powerful message about the importance of fighting social injustice.
It is.
And from there, the atmosphere shifts dramatically. With the arrival of the Ghost of Christmas yet to come.
Oh, yeah.
A silent, shrouded figure.
Spooky.
Embodying the terrifying unknown of death.
Dickens doesn't even give this ghost a face, just the shadowy form, representing the inevitability of our end.
I know. And the scenes he shows Scrooge are truly disturbing.
They are.
People react to Scrooge's death with indifference. Some even with joy.
It makes you think, what kind of legacy are we leaving behind?
It does.
These reactions are a commentary on a life solely devoted to material gain. Wealth without compassion ultimately means nothing.
That's deep. And then there's that awful scene with the scavengers selling stolen possessions.
Yeah.
From Scrooge's deathbed, just picking apart his life without any respect for him.
It really shows you how he was seen, the ultimate symbol of a wasted life.
Yeah.
Scrooge spent his days hoarding wealth, and in death he's nothing more than an object to be exploited.
But the most devastating scene, of course, is with the Cratchit family.
I don't know. Their grief over Tiny Tim's death is so heartbreaking.
It is.
Bob Cratchit's visit to his son's grave is such a stark contrast to the callousness surrounding Scrooge's death.
It really is. It's a reminder that our choices have a ripple effect. Scrooge's refusal to help those in need has had tragic consequences.
And then we see the final image. Scrooge's own neglected, forgotten grave.
Yeah.
The ultimate consequence of his isolation and greed.
It all culminates in that moment of terrified realization.
Right. The unloved man was himself.
Wow.
Scrooge is finally confronted with the cold, hard truth of his life. He finally understands the impact of his actions.
And you know, from that despair, Scrooge's transformation begins.
It's really quite something.
He wakes up on Christmas morning a completely changed man.
Like a brand new person.
Filled with this appreciation for life and the true spirit of Christmas.
That's the beauty of the story, right? It's never too late to change.
Exactly.
And his transformation is remarkably swift. Dickens seems to be saying that real change of heart, it can happen like that.
Yeah.
In an instant.
It gives you hope. It shows us that we can always turn things around.
Redemption is possible.
Yeah. And Scrooge, he doesn't just talk about change. He acts on it. He sends the Cratchits a massive prize turkey.
Oh, wow.
He donates generously to the charities he had previously dismissed. And attends his nephew's Christmas party with real genuine joy.
It's like he's making up for lost time.
Right.
Rebuilding those connections he neglected.
And ultimately, he becomes a true friend and benefactor to the Cratchit family.
He does.
Giving Bob a raise and offering them real support.
It's a beautiful transformation.
It really highlights the power of individual acts of kindness to create a ripple effect and change lives for the better.
I agree. And Dickens connects this personal transformation to a larger social message.
He does.
Scrooge's change of heart, it challenges those ingrained systems of inequality.
It really does.
Suggesting that even small acts of generosity can make a big difference.
A Christmas Carol. It's a timeless story that continues to inspire us to be better people. If you haven't read it recently, I encourage you to revisit it this holiday season.
It's a story for everyone, reminding us that hope and redemption are always possible.
And if you enjoyed this deep dive into A Christmas Carol, be sure to subscribe to our channel. For more insights into classic literature, you can purchase a copy of the book through the link in the show notes.
And as we go about our lives, let's try to remember the lessons from A Christmas Carol. How can we embody the spirit of generosity and compassion, not just during the holidays, but all year round?
That's a great question for us all to consider. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.